Oh. Oh. Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer, and welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films and look back fondly on times past and how they got things wrong or right, or I don't know, just sometimes looking nostalgically back at things. Of course, nostalgia is a two-edged sword. It can be great and it can be horrible. But that last thing we saw was 16mm stock footage from Coronet Films. Coronet Films is one of the big educational film studios, and so they would shoot all this material, and then whatever was left over, they would put on these big reels that we have been scanning for them for stock footage purposes. It's all silent, but it's all camera original Kodachrome, so it's beautiful stuff. And so I'm happy to share it with you, even though it is silent. So today is a special day for two reasons. One, it is day number 1 in the Toe-Tapping Tourney, where we are going to, towards the second part of our screening today, we're going to have show you some candidates and that are competing against each other for the best, most toe-tapping, catchy earworm song, and you guys will be able to vote, and I'll have more details about that. Katrina, my partner, will be joining me, and we'll go through that. That's the second part of the show. But today, right now, let's watch Jack and Bill take the pledge. And oh yeah, the second reason that this is good is that this is our 1500th film that we've shown. So 1500. We've shown 1,500 films at least. I mean, you could. There's, you know, I'll put a spreadsheet in the list so you can see. But you guys have been with us since mid-March of last year, and we've shown 1,500 films. So congratulations for joining us on this long journey. But it's been a lot of fun for me, and it will continue to be a lot of fun. I'll just keep doing it until I can't anymore for whatever reason. So anyways, here is Jack and Bill Take the Pledge.
We're certainly off to a great start. The wrong address, the very first call. Okay, let's just chalk it up as an outreach call.
What's that? Oh, hello there. You did just get here, didn't you? Sorry you missed our first call, but if you'll watch us, we're going to show you other proper techniques in making a stewardship call in the home. Right, Bill?
Oh, right, Jack. You see, we believe that the best way to learn is by doing. Now, some churches have training sessions, and some churches have great, big, huge training manuals. Well, as a matter of fact, I happen to have one right here. Look how big this one is. It's 16 pages of training manual.
People are just too busy these days to spend all of that time. So we're going to show you how to make shortcuts work for you. Just watch us.
Right. And learn from our enthusiasm. We even have an enthusiastic slogan, don't we?
Oh, yes, never have so many labored so diligently and produced so little.
Not that one, Jack. The one that goes, say it with me. We never quit.
We never hedge. We never fail to take the pledge. And with a slogan like that, who needs a training manual?
Right. Who needs it? Right.
Our next call is here at 712 Tuxedo Boulevard. Now, notice how we open the conversation with the man of the house.
Hi, my folks aren't home.
We are from the church. We have come to your house today.
Forget it, Bill. It's just a kid.
I've seen you at church. My teacher said we would have callers from the church today. Do you have the pledge card?
I thought you said your folks weren't home.
They're not, but I can make a pledge, can't I?
A child pledge? I never heard of such a thing as that.
Well, no, what would you pledge? Candy bars?
No, I gave up candy bars so I could pledge a part of my allowance. Doesn't everybody?
Doesn't everybody? Well, yeah, sure, yeah.
Maybe I should pledge more of my allowance to the church.
Look, I tell you what, let me leave a pledge card here, and you give it to your folks, talk it over with them, and we've got other calls to make. We're pretty busy. We'll move right along.
Okay, I sure appreciate you visiting me. No one's ever visited me from the church before. Come on back when my folks are home.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah,
If we can find the time, we'll do that.
Bye.
Hey, I sure hope we don't run into any more kids.
Oh, me too. That one at the last place certainly had some funny ideas. Children should be seen and not heard, right? Right?
Right. Say, did you look at this place? Wow, this guy really knows how to live. And he really ought to come through. Did you see the swimming pool out and back? The more we can get guys like this to give, the less you and I have to come through with.
You said something very important that time, sir. What does the card say? What did they pledge last year? I suppose $1 a week or something, huh?
All it says is watch out for the dog.
Watch out for the dog? Oh, come on, let's get out of here. Sir, we are volunteers. We are not supposed, as volunteers, to endanger life and limb. Come on, let's get out of here.
Look, let me just stick the pledge card in the door and give it a quick ring. I don't think anybody's home anyway. Let him mail it in.
Come on, I told you.
Sorry, Foley's got a wild dog. Oh. Hello there, folks, again. Actually, you have to expect some exceptions, but you'll notice the important thing is we have made a contact at each place. And these are good people. They'll send their pledge cards in. It's as Shakespeare has said, it's the thought that counts.
Right. Now, this call is going to be an easy one because Charlie lives here. Our good old buddy Charlie. Now, you can't always count on friendship making things easier, but you can make friendship work for you. Try, right?
Right, Bill, why don't you hit the old door and let's get this call on.
Okay,
Show 'em
come
how
along.
it's done.
Come along. You're all set.
Hey, Charlie!
Charlie!
Hi, Bill. Hi, Jack.
Hi,
Come on
Sally.
in. Charlie's watching the game, and Fred's here, too.
Oh.
Charlie, Jack and Bill are here for the pledge. Come on in, fellows. I'll get the children and join you in the living room.
What does she mean, get the kids?
I don't know, but let's get in before she gets them. Come on.
Hey, Charlie. Hello, Fred.
Hi,
fellas. Good to see you. What's going on here?
Charlie, old buddy, it's good to see you. And Fred, how you
Good
doing?
to see you.
Here.
What game you watching?
I'm watching a little bit.
That is the game I didn't want to miss. Boy, my God.
Great.
What kind of score you got?
Well, it's 79-7. It is a little lopsided, but it's an awfully good play. It's awfully good.
What are you drinking there, man?
Coke.
That looks like a...
It's
Yeah, I
a
see
fresh
it.
Coke. Have one.
Can
Sure. Out in the kitchen.
Say, Charlie, when the next commercial comes on, I'd like to talk to you a little bit, see if I can, see if you want to make church pledge or not this year.
Glad to help anytime, sure.
Fred, while I'm here, might as well pick up your pledge, save us another call.
Well, why don't you drop by our house, and we'll be happy to pledge.
Any scoring while I was out there?
No, no.
Well, here we are. Oh, that noisy thing. Fellows, we think our children ought to understand more about the meaning of Christian stewardship. Jack, would you take a few minutes to explain it to them in language that they would understand?
Oh, yeah, hi, kids. Yeah, sure. Listen, Bill, listen, I've got a great idea. Look, our next call is right down the street. Why don't I run down there and pick up their pledge card? You stay here, and you explain it in language they can understand. And I'll see you later. As you'll notice, you have to learn to adjust to different situations. Of course, we get more calls made in the same amount of time this way. It's a good stewardship of time, you know. Now, since I'm making this call alone, I stopped by the car, picked up some church materials, just in case I need them.
Yes?
Ah, Mr. Bentonbore.
I'm Mr. Bentonberry.
Oh, yes, I have you here on my list. That's right. I'm from the church. Of course you're Mr. Bentonbore. I saw you in church, just this morning.
No, I'm afraid I wasn't there this morning. Didn't quite make it.
That's strange. I know I've seen you somewhere.
Well, come on in. You are in.
I know I've seen you somewhere. I guess you know why I'm here.
Money?
Well, yes, you know how it is. Nobody likes to go out begging for money, but somebody has to do it, and we all have to take our turns at it.
I think it's rather wonderful of you to volunteer this service to the church.
Well, yes, thank you. I know you're busy, and I have your pledge card right here, and if you'll just go ahead and fill out the amount, I'll be on my way. I have some church literature, but it's sort of long, and I know you already know all of the fine things that our church is doing.
What things did you have in mind?
Well, we, the Sunday school and the morning worship, of course, and the bridge club, for example, and, well, you know how expenses keep going up. We've got to have more money this year. Inflation and all that, it just spiral.
Well, didn't I hear something about a new program that the church was going to start?
A new program, yes. I believe it's something that the youth are doing. Or is it something the men are doing? Maybe something the women are doing. Maybe you ought to ask the preacher about that. I think he will know. If you'll just go ahead and fill that out, then we can go.
Dorothy,
I'm in the den, dear.
how much have we been giving to the church?
$5 a week, I think. Or is that my singing lessons?
$5. Thank you, dear. Is $5 all right? Is it all right if I just sign $5?
Oh, any amount you want to make it is all right. Just go ahead and fill it in and sign it, and I'll be on my way because I know you're busy.
Well, we want to do the right thing. There was something in a letter from the church about percentages. How do you figure your percent of giving?
Man, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, just figure it any way you want. As the Bible says, let your conscience be your guide.
May I see the... What is this about the new program?
Actually, it's something for the youth. The men. The women.
Well, is it a local program right here in town?
Oh, yes. We've got so many problems right here. Nobody's planning to take this money and go, as the Bible says, charity begins at home. And nobody is planning to take this money anywhere else.
Have you got a pen?
Oh, certainly. That's strange. Oh, peculiar.
all you nutty Presbyterians. Yeah, so to clarify, at least my experiences growing up Lutheran and Episcopalian was that during Lent, that was a time to not only give up things like meat or candy if you were a kid, but also it was an opportunity to tithe or pledge money to the church. And the church would use that money for operating expenses, etc. And that film was very popular type of genre where you show how not to do something, and so that's what that is. And that was made in 1967. All right, so we're going to get ready and set up for the tournament, but in the meantime, here's a good old jam handy.
When man first harnessed the muscles of progress, that was the beginning of his dominion on earth. The power of man depends upon his ability to develop, convert, and apply power. The power to lift, the power to drive, the power to pull. And the most widely used power plant of all, the automobile, supplies the power to move ourselves, our families, and all the merchandise in the world. Together, all the automobiles in the world develop over 173 million horsepower, more than all the horses and oxen on earth. Where does this power come from? From explosions. Not the wild, unharnessed explosion of dynamite, but controlled explosions of gasoline in regular, rhythmic, recurrent impulses. How does the burning of a drop of fuel in the automobile engine become power? Power starts in the cylinder, where burning gasoline forces the piston downward. If you take a short piece of cast iron pipe, smoothed out inside, close it up at one end, and fit a plunger in the other end, you have something very similar to the automobile piston in its cylinder. If you put a little gasoline inside the closed end, then set a match to it, your plunger piston will fly off into space like a cannonball. The piston in the automobile engine would act in exactly the same way if it were not harnessed. So to convert the motion of the piston into circular motion, the piston is attached by a connecting rod which carries the power to a crank. The operation of an automobile engine is something like pedaling a bike. The motion of your legs as you force the pedals downward compares to the downward thrust of the piston. Your feet and the pedals make up the connecting rod and crank of your engine. You exert only on the downstrokes. You rest on the upstrokes. But with an automobile engine, there is only one power stroke to every 4 strokes of the piston. For every 4 times the piston travels through the cylinder, only 1 stroke is useful. The first downward stroke sucks gas and air into the combustion chamber of the cylinder. The upward compresses the mixture of gas. On the third stroke, the compressed vapors are ignited and explosion forces a downward stroke. Power is applied. The fourth stroke pushes the burned gases out. This is known as 4-cycle action. 1, intake, 2, compression, 3, power, 4, exhaust. An opening somewhere near the top of the cylinder lets in the gas from the carburetor. And another opening allows the burned gases to escape through the exhaust after the explosion. When the gas is being drawn into the cylinder, the opening to the exhaust is closed airtight. On the compression and explosion strokes of the piston, both openings are closed. And when the burned gases are being forced out, the intake opening is closed. The opening and closing of the gas inlet and exhaust is accomplished by means of valves. Each piston in your engine goes through all 4 cycles about 1,500 times in every mile, and only one stroke carries the car forward. To bring the piston back in place again on the 3 extra strokes, the crank has a flywheel attached to it. The downward stroke of the piston sets the flywheel in motion, which carries the piston along for the other 3 strokes. A 1-cylinder engine needs a very large flywheel to take care of the 3 extra strokes, and uneven power causes a jerky motion in the movement of the crank. With a 4-cylinder engine, the 4 cranks are connected together on a shaft called the crankshaft. With 4 pistons working, jerkiness is cut down. With 6 cylinders, the power strokes overlap, and the continuous flow of power easily carries the other pistons on their 3 extra strokes. The large flywheel of the 1-cylinder engine is no longer necessary. Power doesn't depend on the number of cylinders, but on how efficiently the gasoline mixture is burned in each cylinder. Now, with 6 cylinders, you have no pause between explosions. Each power stroke starts before the previous one is exhausted, and you get complete overlapping smoothness and the greatest gasoline economy. Explosions in the cylinders move the pistons, but they also make the pistons hot. As you know, all metals expand when heated, but cast iron pistons expand the same as the cast iron cylinder block, so they always fit closely, regardless of engine operating conditions, and prevent knocks and waste of oil. From the engine, power goes through the transmission, along the propeller shaft, through the differential and rear axle, and turns the wheels of the car. The harnessing of energy in the automobile engine puts power at the driver's command. Power to meet every need of modern individual transportation.
All right. So, as we saw, you were talking about that film. Last film was kind of boring because of the narration. But then that music came on.
We were like, yes.
And so that's the key, I think, to a lot of these films is the music. I often consider it to be yet another gimmick that educational filmmakers would use to kind of get the point across. Just like you would use puppets or clowns or animation or, like crazy, like stop motion, all the, time-lapse stuff. All that stuff is gimmickry to get someone engaged with it. And so more than a month ago, the Found Footage Festival, which is kind of our cousins, although younger cousins by 10
They're
years.
a little bit younger. Yeah.
We figured out 10 years. That they started doing what they call the Toe-Tapping Tournament. And this is something they started last year, but they did this year where they picked songs from the videotapes that they show. And they had kind of a draft where the 4 of them kind of picked 4 songs, and then they kind of set up a bracket and all that. So Katrina, my partner, and I, we're interested in that, and at one point, Joe from Found Footage Festival said, yeah, we should take on AV Geeks. And in the past, I have challenged Found Footage Festival when we were on tour in Texas to showing the most outrageous clips, of which they mostly won because they had a lot of male genitalia. And so I had to kind of step up my game a little bit.
That feels like cheating to me.
It was
It's a
cheating. It
little
was
bit
totally
cheating.
cheating. They were totally playing the audience. And then we also found Magazine was also part of that, David Rothbart. And he, at the very end, he figured it out. And he kind of cheated in a way, too. So it was kind of hilarious. But I did beat him once in Dallas. Thank you, Dallas, for that.
Skip loves a competition.
Yeah, and this
Loves
is
a challenge.
This is a fun way to kind of show stuff. So, anyways, Katrina and I, I solicited some opinions from you guys, the viewers, and then I also had a bunch of notes in my database about songs. At one point, my friend Ian Shannon and I put out a CD. Long before I was doing VHS tapes or DVDs of my collections, we did this CD called 16mm film soundtracks. I pulled from that as well. And so we ended up having like 36 films to pull from and jingles from those films. And so we had to do the hard thing last night and try to pare that down to 16.
16. And what was interesting about this is, back to what you were saying about how they use music in films, the 70s are rich with music, and it makes sense, like how music went into pop culture and then talking about drugs and sex and in educational films. And we have so many 70s gems in these top 16 that we went through.
And so here's a quick look at the bracket, and we'll be having 4 competitions a day. So we'll do it today, Wednesday, and then Friday we'll have the final 4 that you guys will pick. And so...
So we've pared it down to what we think are, right now, out of all the films and songs that we know, these are the ones that we think are the quintessential AV Geeks, educational, industrial film tunes. And
it was hard, too, because there was a couple... There's one film, Crash Bang Boom, which I love, which is about percussion, but it's so long. It spans the entire film. Likewise, that film that I showed last week, 10 Little Engines, spanned the entire film. So it's harder to kind of get that down to a nice chunk.
And so maybe we'll do a musical one where we just do whole films that are music films.
Right. And if this works out, then we'll definitely do this again next year. Because we had a lot of candidates. And you guys made some great suggestions. And regrettably, there's no Mulligan Stew in there, because their songs are long. And they're not always great. Those kids did not always know how to sing.
Well, that's the fun thing about this, too. Like, some of these tunes are just little ditties at the beginning or the end or in the middle. And some are entire songs that maybe, I think, could have been radio played because they're so good.
Right.
So we're fans of all of these tunes, but your job is to, out of each bracket, you want to show them the bracket again?
Yeah.
So we're going to maybe start... Are we going to start with Acid today?
We're going to start with the competing. So the idea is you're going to vote at the email address. And so you can say things in the comments, and you can also sway people and talk about why you like a song. But to have a registered vote, you have to email me at skip@avgeeks.com. And so our first competition is going to be Uncle Smiley versus Acid. So...
And are we going to talk about why we like these songs now, or are we going to wait till after?
We could talk about it now. Yeah. So go ahead.
I don't know. Uncle Smiley is, well, it's the intro to all of the Uncle Smiley films. And how many films are there?
I think we figured it was 7 or 8.
Okay.
And we watched them all, much to the chagrin of many people on the comments. But it's written by Jim Burrows. Jim Burrows was like the singer-songwriter for a lot of educational films. And he did the song Serendipity.
Oh, that didn't make the cut.
And I wanted to make sure that at least one Jim Burrows song was going to make the cut. Okay. So Jim, he did, so here's the intro for Uncle Smiley. And so as you can see below, if you want to vote... and what we're going to do is we're going to let you vote for 24 hours. You have 24 hours to take this vote. And then...
so should we tell them today is the 26th of April, 2021.
So
And you have until 1 o'clock?
Yeah, 1 o'clock tomorrow.
1 o'clock tomorrow, which is before Skip's show, unless you want to do it after your show, so if they wanted to do any last-minute voting.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll do that. So, again, skip at avgeeks.com. All right.
Coming up with the rules on the fly.
So much overhead. This is why the Found Footage Festival guys, they did it for a month and a half, because it was so much work. So here it is. Here's Uncle Smiley.
Who is the one when the school day is done that the kids always run to? It's Uncle Smiley. Whose is the place where the kids always race? They've got no time to waste when it's Uncle Smiley. Uncle's the one who's always busy, they know. Too busy working to get up and go. But Uncle's a friend who can never go. So Uncle Smiley, get up and go. Uncle's the one, he's a barrel of fun. Just look out, here he comes. It's Uncle Smiley, stumbling around like a carnival clown. He's the pride of the town. He's our Uncle Smiley. When there's a job to be done, old Uncle is always the one. No matter what happens, it's bound to be fun. So Uncle Smiley, get up and go. So Uncle Smiley, get up and go.
All right. That was Horace Glass. And I actually picked the recycling song, too. And it goes on for a long time, and then there's a great refrain, but it's at the very end.
Yeah, the very end is the best part of that song. So maybe that'll be another competition where we do just like little ditties or something.
Yeah. Because we have all the time in the world to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so so the idea is that there'll be 4 competitions today. So there'll be 2 songs in each competition competing against each other. So Uncle Smiley is going to compete against Acid, the Story of LSD.
I don't really feel like we need to talk about this song. Again, like this is the end credits. So that was the beginning credits, right? Is this the end credits?
Yeah, the end credits. And the thing is, like, visually, you're going to see a lot of end credits because that tends to be where they put the entire song,
right,
whereas they might just have a phrase from the song in the film. And I was like, I wanted to have the entire thing. So this is Acid. This was on the 60mm film soundtrack. It has been sampled many, 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 many times. I won't be surprised if I get some sort of copyright thing that kind of is saying, like, hey, somebody who made a song in 1990 used this. So here it is. Here's Acid.
It has tremendous potential for good if used wisely, like atomic energy. Or it can provide for a whole holocaust of mental Hiroshimas.
I took a trip to find myself and me, and I saw love in purple, orange, green. My mind ain't feeling right, my mind ain't feeling right, my mind ain't feeling right, my mind ain't feeling right. I gotta find a new way of living, I gotta find a new way of life, I gotta find a new way of living. Drop and attack. Acid. What you doing to me? Acid. What you doing to me? Acid. Oh, what you doing to me? Acid. Get out of my life. 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 Get out of my life.
All right. So Katrina was saying that one criteria to review is can a woman with tassels dance to it? So
a lot of these songs.
Yeah, so maybe that's your definition. Some people were like, is it an earworm? Is it going to get stuck in your head? And maybe this is the thing, is you watch it, you don't vote yet, and then you see which song you're humming later today, because it will be at least one.
So that's the first bracket.
Right.
Acid versus Uncle Smiley.
And I should say that this is interesting. So there's a phenomenon related to acid. I'm just going to show a clip from this that somebody submitted to Sundance back in 2013. It's called Catnip.
characterized by hallucinations, illusions, and distortions of both perception and thinking. That's catnip. Over the centuries.
So much clicking. All right, so that tells me it's a good song because somebody did a parody of it.
But
Yeah. So and so the idea is like you don't have to vote right now, but within the next 24 hours before 1 o'clock tomorrow, it'd be great if you voted, and you'll have 4 votes for the competitions. So the next one, the next thing, if you look at the bracket, is going to be Drugs Are Like That versus VD Play It Safe. And what's funny is how many drug films and VD films kind of showed up in this. It could be because I've watched a lot of drug films and I collect VD films that's the case.
But you've watched 1,500 films.
Well, just during
this
this
year alone.
Yeah.
Never mind all the ones you know.
Right.
So I think again, it's back to the rich. How do you talk to the kids? How do you get them to listen to VD safety, drug resistance? And
so what's interesting is Centron Films, who released this film or distributed it, they have 3 different films that have great VD songs. The Lunatic, which is written by Jim Stringer, who did Shake Hands with Danger. And then there's Dance Little Children, which came out like in 1960, which has a really great song called Dance Little Children. And then, of course, this one, VD Play It Safe.
Even though I'm too hung up to tell you 1 to 1, just found out I've got VD, I tell you it's no fun. So I'm just writing this to you, 'cause you may have it too, since we were together. So play it safe. Go to a clinic or see a doctor today. Play it safe. Go get a checkup and do it right away. Play it safe. You know I love you. Play it safe. I'm thinking of you, and if you care for me, then play it safe.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, I would have heard that on the radio. Actually, that wouldn't have had radio play. I feel like it would have been the last song, like on a Billy Joel record or something. Like the final song that you looped or something. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's a very bittersweet, romantic song ballad about venereal disease, which I really, really, I like that, and it does stick in your head surprisingly. I've been seeing some votes showing up, and I am shocked. I'm not going to say what the results are because I don't want to sway it in some way, but I am shocked.
Listen, we have 24 hours.
Yeah, you got 24 hours
to vote. That was knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah,
and which I'm a fan of.
Yeah. All right, so this next one is. It's a film that I've had quite a while, and I've shown for quite a while, and it was on the 16mm film soundtrack. It is from Drugs Are Like That, and what I had learned about Drugs Are Like That is that it was a series of PSAs, short PSAs, that were shown on Florida television, and at some point somebody strung them together, and they wrote this song. And the name of the band, as you'll see, again, this is one that shows credits. It will actually credit who wrote the song. Thy Changing Image.
I love that band.
Yeah, so it would be great to look it up and see like the one single that they put out, or whatever. So this is really fascinating. So here's Drugs Are Like That.
some things you just can't stop, and drugs are like that too. You pick it up, it's hard to drop, and drugs are like that too. A baby going through a phase, a player playing in a daze. You break a rule and you have to pay. Will it hurt? Well, who's to say? Singing, drugs are like that, drugs are like that, drugs are like that too. Singing, drugs are like that, drugs are like that, drugs are like that too.
So does that pass the tassel test?
I mean, right? If that's what we're going for, I don't think so.
I mean, that's
like the slow dance test.
Yeah, the play it safe one would not pass.
No, and I don't think that's what this is like. The
yeah.
This is the clap test.
Yeah.
Not the tassel test. I love that song. Again, it could be on the radio.
Right.
It would get stuck in your. I think that's totally an earworm.
Yeah.
Like that.
And I always, whenever I show the film live, I always sing it, and I try to encourage other people to sing it because it's so good. It's really, really.
And it goes that.
Something.
It's like good stuff.
Yep. All right, so
that's the second bracket.
That's the second little heat of. So it's drugs are like that versus VD play it safe. So if you want to save up your 4 votes for today into one email, you can do that, or. I should say everybody gets 1 vote for each heat.
Keep track.
And we're going to keep track. And doing it via comments is a nightmare. So that's why we're doing where you email the email below. Plus, it's funny to see what people write. Some of your comments to emails. I'm not going to reveal, but pretty hilarious. Pretty hilarious. Okay.
What's the next round, Skip?
All right, so we're going back to the bracket, and so we've done Acid versus Uncle Smiley, Drugs Are Like That versus VD Play It Safe, Duck and Cover versus Munchers.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so
Munchers is one of those movies or films where the whole thing is a song and a ditty.
Right.
And so I have mixed feelings about it, but I think the beginning, the intro ditty, is the best ditty in the whole thing.
Right. I do like the Jack Sweet rap, but Katrina didn't like that. So.
I mean, it's a rap. He's not singing. He's just talking over some music.
Yeah, it does rhyme. So, yeah. Okay.
Didn't make the cut.
But, so this film is stop motion animation, and it, with clay. It's not technically claymation because Will Vinton trademarked that term and would not let other people use it.
Can you say it?
I can say claymation, yes.
Claymation.
So Crocus Productions, based in Chicago, they did a lot of really crazy films, and one of their other films is going to be is Malika Palika Skip 2, which we're going to show in the next heat. So, all right, so let's show Munchers.
Sweet candy, cookies and jam. We take all we want, and we eat all we can.
Yummy. This is fun.
Sweet candy and cakes are fine. They're yummy, crunchy, yumchy, scrunchy. Munchy anytime.
That's it.
Yeah, so it's short. It's a short little thing. I mean, the whole thing is a long song about tooth decay, and somebody actually mentioned a 4432 song that was in. They thought was in Mulligan Stew. There's actually a 4432 song in this film.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that great though. It's okay. And this next film, of course, traumatized an entire generation of kids, all the boomers. And this, again, is a short film at the very beginning that kind of shows up occasionally throughout and then at the end. But this is animated, features our good friend Bert the Turtle. And this is the only film that kind of steps outside of that sweet late 60s, early 70s spot. But it is easily the most popular film that I have on Internet Archive, and
it's an earworm. I think that's why it's in here. It's an earworm.
Yep. So here's Duck and Cover.
Diddle-dum-dum, diddle-dum-dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He'd duck and cover, duck and cover. He did what we all must learn to do. You and you and you and you, duck and cover.
All right, so that was Duck and Cover versus Munchers. So two animated films that were kind of short ditties at the beginning.
Yeah, and Duck and Cover, I never really realized before, it has like this really lazy bass line.
Yeah.
And it's just, and these ladies, you know, singing and kind of brightly about this really disturbing thing you have to do because...
Right. Well, you got to keep it happy because the implications of it are pretty horrifying. And that's the wonder of Duck and Cover, is the idea that ducking under your desk will allow you to survive a nuclear blast.
And what Munchers actually has, like, the ladies singing over it, too. Sweet Candy, which is a tassel. Just saying, that's another tassel.
That's your tassel criteria. So, you know, you might be using does this song make you think of a woman with tassels shaking her moneymakers in front of you, or is it an earworm that's kind of getting, or is it, you know, this is up to you. You guys are getting to vote. And so, again, you know, email is right down there, skip@avgeeks.com. All right, so next on the bracket, or the last the last heat that we're talking about today is What You Gonna Do versus Malik Palika Do Skip 2.
This is a tough one. This is these two kind of they're in two different worlds.
And we named this song What You Gonna Do because we don't know the name of this song.
And it's from
the Is a Career in Blah for You. So it's a whole series of films. It's like 20 films, of which we've shown some on here, but it always starts off with this What You Gonna Do song. So Here we go.
What you gonna do when the time comes and you have to earn your way? What you gonna do when the time comes and you have to earn your pay? What will you do when you're finally on your own? What will you do when you're finally on your own? What will you do when you're finally on your own?
That's so good.
You want more, right? That song makes me want more.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? I mean, I don't even know what they're really saying. I don't care.
Yeah. What you gonna do
when the time comes?
When the time comes and you
have to earn your way.
Earn your way. Yeah, what you're going to do. Yeah.
When the time comes and you got to earn your pay or something.
Yeah.
What will you do?
Yeah, when you're finally on your own. So these are films that were shown to high school kids and kids in trade school to try to get them to pick what their career was going to be after they got out of school. Also shown to the military for people that were mustering out.
Huh.
And I have a theory. This is made by film counselors who also made the Fun or Dumb series, and also made, I think some of the people were involved with Death Zones and Then It Happened, which were some really intense bus safety films. All right, so the next one is Malika Palika Do. This is more animated clay singing a song, and this one again has music all throughout. But so it was hard to pick. But this is the intro, and it just sets the stage for one of the most ludicrous educational films that I have.
This is the one where we decided they were actually on LSD when they made this film.
Right.
It's not about LSD. It's
No.
not warning you about LSD. It is.
Yes.
It's imagination.
It's not a drug. It's not a film about drugs, but it was certainly inspired by drugs. So here is Malika Palika Do Skip 2.
One shiny day, so I've heard folks say, a sister and a brother changed themselves to beanbags, changed themselves to beanbags, and went not far away. They traveled to the kingdom where imagination loves to play. Malika Palika Do Skip 2, Malika Palika Do Skip 2, strange things can happen there. In Malika Palika Do Skip 2, they found all sorts of things, like a talking foot with wings.
Well, haven't you ever seen wings with a foot before?
So good!
Yeah, it's really good. It's very folksy.
And the Malika Palika Do Skip 2, I think that's like the earworm thing, where I will be walking around the house doing that with my show. Malika Palika Do Skip 2.
I mean,
and
basically,
his name is in it.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons I like that film. But our brains are mush. You can't use this as a guide because we listened to all of these yesterday. Well, actually, we listened to more than all of these.
And not just yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, for the last week or two, we've been talking about which ones, and you guys have been putting things in, and I've been listening, and he's been cutting them down. It's been a thing, and a fun thing. I love an AV Geeks project. Like, this makes me really happy.
Yeah, this is going to be a blast. So, and I've alerted the Found Footage Festival guys, so they're probably going to be spying to see, like, I don't know which 4 they're going to prop up.
I know.
Yeah, so
It's
it'll be
kind of
interesting.
we're not using them as a guide. You guys are just picking what you think, and we're going with you. So they didn't do audience. Oh, they did.
They did for
the
the
final,
the last one,
Yeah.
which Bank of Ireland won, which is a really good song.
That's a great song
compared to that horrible Donna Mills "The Eyes Have It" song, which I am amazed went as far as it did. So vote below. I'll show you the bracket one more time so you can kind of reacquaint yourself. So it's Acid versus Uncle Smiley, Drugs Are Like That versus VD Play It Safe, Duck and Cover versus Munchers, the What You Gonna Do versus Malika Palika Do Skip 2. So you have to pick one out of each of those individual heats. And just email us at skip@avgeeks.com before 1 p.m. tomorrow.
Or 2 p.m. or 1 p.m.?
Let's make it 1 p.m.
Okay. Ooh, before we start the next show, you got to have your votes in.
Yeah. And
that's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 27th,
right,
2021.
Right.
If it's after that time, I mean, you could tell us what you would vote. Sure, send us an email.
Yeah.
Skip, you're going to get me these emails for the rest of your life.
That's great. I love it. And again, you can certainly talk in the comments about what you want, but to actually register a vote for the songs, you need to email me below.
And 1 vote per email.
One vote
per email address.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So if you have multiple email addresses.
No ballot stuffing. No. All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. So we'll be back on
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Huh.
Yeah. But I want to kind of...
You want to cut it off?
Cut it off
All right.
within 24 hours.
We're living in the moment here, Geeks.
So we'll be back on Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow just showing films again. And I will certainly talk about the tourney. And maybe we'll have results. I don't know. It depends on how things work out. But
that'd be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see what we
can
get away with.
Fill it in and show you guys at the end of the show tomorrow so you'll know.
Yeah.
So maybe the next time you'll vote related to who you know won the thing.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. And that's another thing that's interesting is you were talking about the strategy that some people would want to vote knowing like which they're going to be up against.
Yeah.
So they want to try to pick based on that.
Yeah.
That's too much for me. Just your gut react. You're just like, ooh, that's so good.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing about an AV Geeks project. Like, Skip and I have such different styles, and I was throwing ideas out to him like an hour ago. Oh, right. We could try this.
Right.
But no, here we are. We're in it, man. Yep. Thanks for joining us.
Yep. Thanks so much. As always, please rewind and love each other. And we will see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock. And so be sure to email us and vote. And thanks for participating. I hope you're having as much fun as we are. All right. Bye.